Buenos dias, muchachos y muchachas. Today, we're bringing out the inner Viking. We're going for a row on the canoes here in the channels in Tigre. We're gonna do the questions and answers, the Q&A video for the 25k. Thanks very much to everybody who's helped me reach 25k already. Only 1.5 years after starting this channel. I didn't expect to grow this fast on YouTube. So thanks very much for everyone that has subscribed, everyone who's supporting, watching the videos. And to mark the 25k, as I said, today we're gonna do the Q&A video. We're gonna explore a little bit on the canoe here in Tigre. We're gonna see what we can find going around, rowing, and then we're gonna hit some spots up and answer some questions as we get to some interesting places around the Tigre, the delta of Tigre. So let's go, check it out. It's early morning today and we're going that way. We'll see where the first stop is and then we're gonna answer some questions once we get there. Let's go explore. All right, so let's get to the questions. I don't quite know how we're going to do this. I think I'm just going to do it pretty much one take. So this might be a long video. I'm parked here next to the little bank here, next to the river bank, next to some flowers. So let's get to question number 1. Comes from Helga from Facebook, who asks, how did you first arrive in Bolivia? And did any person in particular play a role in this? Well, the story was that I was traveling around Africa and I wanted to come to South America. I spoke a little bit of Spanish at the time. I wanted to learn proper Spanish, to speak really good Spanish. And I thought, what better than order a ticket to Santiago in Chile? So that's what I did. I was in Mozambique at the time. And then I ordered a ticket to Santiago with the idea of coming to South America and just travel until I found somewhere that I ended up liking enough to wanting to live there. And there I started with Chile, went through Argentina, and then came into Bolivia, and instantly I was like, wow, this is different. This is cool. The culture, the people, the landscape, the nature, the food, everything was really, really cool, and I was instantly grabbed by it. So then I said, I'm gonna try and live in Bolivia. That ended up being the answer. So that is why or how I ended up in Bolivia in the first place. Let me just take the screen sleeping away here. Okay. Question number 2 comes from Nath007 on Instagram, who asks, what is your #1 destination and why? To that I would have to say, I think it's Papua New Guinea. Over in Southeast Asia, Papua New Guinea, the island country next to Indonesia. It's just, I saw a show once from Papua New Guinea and it looks absolutely fantastic. Lots of waterways, jungle, interesting tribes and original culture living in the country still these days. So yeah, instantly when I saw that show, I just remember watching this tribe in the jungle on this travel show called Departure, 2 Canadian guys. I recommend checking that out, by the way, if you haven't seen it. And they were staying in the tribes in the jungle, and they had this tradition of like the guys, to prove that they grow from boys to men, they have to stay in this hut in the middle of the jungle for, I can't remember how long, but like a long time. And they would have to do a tattoo with a rock and a poke every single day. They would have to work on their tattoo, and once the tattoo was done, they'd proven that they were men enough and ready to join society. So yeah, Papua New Guinea is my #1 destination. Then we have Jasmine on Facebook, who asks, are you coming to Patagonia? And this time the answer is no, I'm not going to come to Patagonia on this trip. But as I was just alluding to before coming to Bolivia, part of how I ended up in Bolivia in the first place was traveling through Patagonia in the first place. I started in Santiago and I went down through Chile and I went up north through Argentina, all the way through Patagonia. I did it all hitchhiking. I went through what's called the Carretera Austral in Chile, which is one long road that just goes through the Patagonia. It's amazing. It's absolutely crazy. There's just one road. I think Pinochet, the former dictator, was the man behind, or he was the man behind this road, and he ordered prisoners to build this road through Patagonia so they could keep a track of the land there and keep hold of what Argentina was doing down in Patagonia as well. So yeah, that road is fantastic. As soon as you leave it, it's just pure nature, lots of hiking, lots of nature, raw nature. It's fantastic. So yeah, I would highly recommend checking out the Carretera Austral. And for that reason, as I then came north in Argentina, I went all the way down to Punta Arenas, and then I came north in Argentina, all hitchhiking all the way back up to Mendoza. So yeah, for that reason I'm not going to come to Patagonia now, but Patagonia is fantastic. Do check it out at some point. I would love to go back one day as well, but this time not doing it hitchhiking. This time I would rent a car or buy a car or something, a motorbike maybe, and then just travel through the whole thing, be completely free. Don't rely on the hitchhiking, you know. Then we have Elida on Facebook. The boats are coming. The motorboats are creating waves here. I have to hold on to the edge. Elida on Facebook asks, what did you like and not like about Bolivia? And what was your favorite city in the country? Or what is your favorite city in the country? So let's see. What do I like about Bolivia? Oh, there's a long list. I don't know where to start. We could say the diversity in culture, the amazing diversity as well in landscape, flora and fauna. There's so much. The country is so different from the Altiplano in the northwest up towards Peru, La Paz, Oruro, Potosí, the high altitude part of Bolivia with crazy desert-like landscapes and tall mountains, snow-capped mountains, mountain climbing, great trekking, great hiking. Then you have the middle part of the country, Cochabamba and Sucre, that's like your rolling hills, smaller mountains, great food, wine, landscape as well, way more foresty it becomes there. And then obviously you have the Amazon and you have the Santa Cruz area as well. That's so beautiful, and it makes for a country that's so diverse, which is one of the main beauties about Bolivia. The different cultures in the country are so great, and I really like Bolivia for that reason. That's what I really love about Bolivia. What I don't like about Bolivia, what would that be? I don't like all the all the protests all the time. It's always like, especially if you're living in La Paz, which I was, which is also the answer to the third question here. My favorite city is La Paz for sure. But if you're living in La Paz, you have to plan for roadblocks and protests, messing up the time to travel around from the north to the south of the city and so on and so forth. That can be annoying at times. But otherwise, yeah, I really love Bolivia. Then what do we have here? Next question comes from Rivolta on Facebook, and she asks, I think it's a she asks, what food did you like the most so far in Argentina? And I think here the question, or the answer is pollo al disco. I tried that in Cordoba with Tony. Shout out to Tony if you're watching. One of you guys, one of the subscribers who reached out to me on Facebook to simply ask if I wanted to come round. He wanted to show me a little bit of culture in Cordoba, and then we had a lovely dinner with his family at his house, at his brother's house, and they made pollo al disco, this creamy chicken risotto-like dish that was prepared on the grill, on the barbecue. I've never tried anything like it before. other than like a risotto, but it was way better than it was a risotto with that charcoal taste that you get from a barbecue. Tell me that that isn't lovely, and I don't know what to tell you. That's definitely the best food that I've tried so far. And yeah, as you can see, there's many questions to go. So I think we're gonna go to another spot and answer some more questions once we get there. Let's go. Okay, we've come down. Look at this fantastic little stream that I'm coming down here, just floating in the middle of the stream here. Isn't it lovely? Check it out, like over here, lovely houses. There's another house over there. This area is really cool. I could see myself having a weekend house here if I was living in Buenos Aires. That's really nice here. All right, let's get to the next questions in the group here. Lou from Facebook asks, could you translate to Spanish, please? I assume she's talking about the YouTube videos. The videos are... Oh, there's a motorboat coming here. I think I have to get away from the middle of the road. One sec. But yeah, the videos are automatically available with Spanish subtitles on them. There's absolutely no issue around that. You just have to go down to the full screen icon in the middle, in the right hand corner of your screen, and then you click on the little wheel icon that's right next to it, and then you choose subtitles, and then you can choose many different languages, and Spanish is one of those options that you have there. So you should be able to find the Spanish subtitles. Remember that. I see a lot of you guys ask for Spanish subtitles, but yeah, those subtitles are already available. There are many subtitles. There's also German, French, Italian, Portuguese, Danish, Dutch, Russian, Hindi, many different languages that you can choose, and Spanish being one of those languages. So yeah, Spanish is already an option for you to watch whilst when I'm not speaking Spanish, obviously, in the videos, because the channel is in English. But yeah, I'm fully aware that a lot of you guys only speak Spanish, so for that reason there are Spanish subtitles available to the video as well. So you should be able to find those. And yeah, let me know in the comments below here if it's still if you're still confused as to where you can find those subtitles. All right, let me just get this set up here, and then we'll get to the next question. Let's see here. Next question is from Andres, also on Facebook, who asks, who says, congratulations, Sebastian. Thank you very much. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for getting me here. Are you planning to come to Buenos Aires, or am I going to stay in Buenos Aires? If you're referring to stay as in live in Buenos Aires, then no. But yeah, I'm definitely planning to coming to Buenos Aires. I'm already in the province of Buenos Aires here, in Tigre. And after here, in a couple of days, I'm going to go into the center of the city itself and hit up Buenos Aires. We're going to do some interesting videos in there. Hit up some unseen parts of Buenos Aires. At least from the travel video perspective. Via 31, Via Selina. Some of these places are ideas that I have already. I might be meeting up with a friend in there, so yeah. Stay tuned for Buenos Aires videos coming up after this one. Then we have Felipe Herrera Official on Instagram. Felipe is a Brazilian YouTuber who makes travel videos. Check out his channels. His channel is only in Portuguese, so yeah, if you don't speak Portuguese, use that subtitle option. As I was just telling you about, that you have on YouTube. You can easily click on subtitles so you can watch his videos as well. He's asking, what are your inspirations for the type of video that I'm making, that you make? For that, I would say there are two main guys here. They are Paddy Doyle / The Budgeteers, which is a YouTube channel. The Budgeteers is a YouTube channel between 3 guys, where this guy Paddy Doyle is one of them, a Belgian guy called Thijs, and a Colombian girl called Lena. And they do these really cool travel series, budget travel series, where they go to a country or a region of the world, like they did one in Central America as well, where they did through from LA up in Los Angeles to Panama City, all on $1,000 per person, to show you that it doesn't actually take that much money to travel. You can travel on quite a low budget and still see and experience a lot of interesting things, a lot of cool experiences. So that channel, and then Paddy Doyle himself now does a channel in Thailand where he's riding around his little motorbike, visiting provinces around the whole country of Thailand, and then Vietnam he's been to as well, and now he's starting a new series in Laos, I've seen. So yeah, he is a really cool guy, very honest, he's good at like making you feel what it's like to travel, not only the ups. It's not only a dance on rainbows, it's also, there's shit times where you get wet, where you get tired, where you don't know where you're going to sleep this night, you don't know what you're eating for the next meal, but somehow it figures it out. Somehow it always figures itself out. But he's very good at bringing you into that, like the feeling of traveling, the feeling that you get of both ups and downs. And then we have, for this style of videos, Harold Boulder, a Norwegian guy, a fellow Viking, who's making these very honest, raw, uncut, authentic travel videos, also showing not the most touristy places, always tries and go to some other places, try to show that, like I do myself as well, try and show the daily life of the place that you visit, of the place that you're going to. So yeah, I would say those two guys are the main inspirations, and I'm kind of trying to mix both styles, trying to see how well I can do this, of like making you feel like you get the idea of what traveling is, not only ups, and not only glory and dancing on rainbows and purple sunsets and all of that stuff. There's also all the other side of it. So yeah, those two guys, Paddy Doyle and Harold Boulder. Then we have Elizabeth, also on Instagram, who asks, what food and what country do you like the most? I'm not quite sure what she means, if she just means one dish, my favorite dish, and one country, my favorite country, or if she means like the combination of a country that's really great that also has really good food. Because if it's the second one, I would say Mexico. Mexico is fantastic. It has really good food, at the same time as a lot of stuff to see in the country itself. The country is full of beautiful food and beautiful nature, massive cities, Mexico City obviously, Oaxaca, Mérida, really cool cities around the country, these pyramids, the Mayan ruins, the Aztecan ruins, great culture in the country. So yeah, Mexico would be, if we're talking about that combination, that would be the answer. Then we have Jessie, also on Instagram here, who asks, how did you learn Spanish? Yeah, as I was saying before coming to Bolivia, I had been one time before in South America, in Peru. I stayed in Cusco, where I stayed 3 months in Cusco. I learned basic Spanish there. I went to a language school every single day, and I did some volunteering in a kindergarten in the outskirts of Cusco. And whilst I was staying with a local family, and there in that time I learned like the basics of it. That local family didn't speak much English, and my Spanish was terrible. I arrived with una cerveza por favor, ¿dónde está el baño? Y me llamo Sebastián. That was basically the 3 things I could say in Spanish before coming there at that time. Well, here we go. Some motorboat coming again, but that's all right. So yeah, that's how I learned it, the basics. And then once I was living in Bolivia and I was owning a restaurant in Bolivia, I really started to learn Spanish fully, because when you own a restaurant and all the employees are Bolivian and only one of them speaks English, then you have no other choice than to learn Spanish, eh? So if they're in that, and obviously with my girlfriend being Bolivian, her teaching me Spanish all the time, then yeah, slowly but steadily I just grew in Spanish. I would just go around and ask like, what's that? What's that? What's that? And then, that's a camera, that's a camera, that's a camera. Yes. And then step by step I would remember one word and then another word and then another word, and slowly build my Spanish skills that way through. So yeah, that is the story of how I learned Spanish. And then, related to that, will you ever be back, or when will you be back in Bolivia? Asks Mitsugv 15. Yeah, I completely butchered that name, I'm sorry. When will I be back in Bolivia? Probably sometime next year, I guess. When we go back, my girlfriend and myself, and visit family and friends up in Bolivia. So yeah, probably sometime next year. I guess that I'll be back in Bolivia, so there'll be some more videos coming in from Bolivia at some point on the channel, I can tell you that much. I'm just not sure how, when, but I think next year will be the year that I'm back in Bolivia again. And then, let's go and find the next place and answer some more questions once we get there. Check this spot out though, it's really cool here. Found a new spot here next to the trees. It's really interesting. This tree is dropping small drops from it. I don't know exactly what's going on, if it's some kind of tree sap that's falling off, or if it's absorbed rain from last night, or I don't know what's going on, but it's really cool. All right, on with the questions though. JMC _Eve on Instagram then asks, what's the weirdest country you've visited in terms of local customs? There, I always say, here in, well, not really a country, but all the countries here in South America have this, to me, very weird motel culture, where you can rent by the hour, which really isn't a thing for me, a thing where I'm from, a thing that I'm used to at all. This culture is, well, those of you that are from South America knows exactly what I'm talking about with this. Basically, here in South America, the people, they rent a motel room for an hour or two to bring their spouse, to bring their girlfriend, to bring their boyfriend, to bring their lover, if they're cheating on their wife, or boyfriend, or girl, or husband. And they go to the motel and they rent a room for an hour or two, gets their business done, and then they just go on with their day or their evening. That is just strange to me. In my culture, that is not a thing. Like, you just go, you just, as a young person, you just bring someone home. There's no problem with that. Like, your parents, my parents knows what's going on. They've been young as well. They're not expecting me to for a girl that you bring home when you're 15 or 16 years old, that or whatever, that is going to be the wife forever. But it's, yeah, it's not an uncommon thing in Denmark, in Europe, I think in general, to just bring your girlfriend or boyfriend home when you're young. Obviously, on the other side of the motel business, if you're cheating on your husband or your wife, you gotta have to plan it out. But we still don't have these rent by hour motels, which is, yeah, very strange to me, to say the least. Let's see. So that's probably the weirdest custom that I've ever seen anywhere. But yeah, it's not really a country, but it's a region that has that, all the way from Mexico down. Then next question is from Bani Gonzalez OK, also on Instagram, who's asking, what is your favorite place in the world? I think I'm taking this then like, what is my favorite place? What's the place that I would live, that I would most like to live if I could, if everything was if I was going to buy a house today. And that's a difficult one. I think I came to the conclusion that Portugal is probably my favorite place in the world, because it's fairly small, so you can get around the country very, very fast. It's beautiful. It has different types of landscape. In the south you have the very warm white sandy beaches. On the west coast you have big waves surfing, also white wild rugged beaches. You have hills, small mountains in the northeast of the country, it is, outside of Porto, that are really good for hiking. Portugal has great food. The cities of both Porto and Lisbon are really, really good cities, up there, top 10 probably, both of them for me, of cities in Europe. The food's really great, the culture is great. For me, very important, there's a good football league there as well, which is cool. So you can go and watch some great football live on the stadium, in the grounds. So yeah, I think Portugal is my favorite place in the world right now. If I would have to live anywhere, if I would have to settle down and buy a house somewhere right now. Then Serge, yeah, on Instagram asks, what do you like the most about traveling, and how did you discover your passion for traveling? What I like the most about traveling is just getting exposed to different cultures, getting exposed to new food, new people, new cultures, seeing perspectives on the world while talking to the local people where you are, seeing different perspectives on the world, what's going on in the world, what do they feel like, what's their dreams and aspirations in their life. Just get exposed to different cultures, different opinions, and different food. All of that is definitely my favorite thing about traveling. And then how did I discover my passion for traveling? Well, that pretty much came with my childhood, growing up. Growing up, we would go with my parents. My parents would rent a house or an apartment somewhere in Europe, and we would just drive with the car from Denmark down to somewhere in Europe. I remember switching houses with a family in Switzerland. I don't remember where it was in Switzerland. I must have been like 8-9 years old at that time, switching houses with this family. So they lived in our house back in Denmark for a week, and we lived in their house in Switzerland for a week. So we ended up staying in an apartment in some neighborhood in I think it was in Bern in Switzerland, and I made friends with the local guys there. We played football together. I remember one day one of the guys saw a hot air balloon up in the sky and decided, I'm just gonna chase this thing. So he just went off running after this hot air balloon, which made the whole neighborhood go and search for him afterwards once we realized that he wasn't going to come back. So then we ended up spending the whole day trying to look for him, and that was quite fun. Got lost by rivers in Switzerland. I remember learning to swim. I was not the good swimmer when I was young. Surprise, eh? As a Viking you should be a good swimmer, but I was not. And there was these hot, really, really strong currents in the rivers in Switzerland that I was just scared to petrified to jump in those rivers. I remember that. I remember once doing the same thing, like renting a house, an apartment in Prague, in Czech Republic, and the lady, the owner of the house, had bought a little truck. I still remember this truck, like a little play toy truck, purple, with the glimmers and a blue lightning down the side, and I was just blown away by this truck. I was a little kid as well at that point, probably a year before that time in Switzerland. So yeah, experiences like this just instantly got me hooked on traveling as a kid. And I was always like, growing up, I want to go after high school, I want to go travel, and then we'll see about university. And yeah, I'm still traveling, and decided university is not for me. I'm more a business kind of guy, a businessman. I like to set up my own businesses and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's how I discovered my passion for traveling. It comes from my parents. I'm probably just taking it to the next level. Then Sil_Viana I guess Silviana from Instagram asks, do you like broccoli? Yes, I very much do like broccoli. You should eat your broccoli. Great proteins for you there. Great nutrition for you there. Thomas Carivalli, also on Instagram, asks, what's your favorite team, football team in Argentina? Of course, it's Decano. Vamos Decano. Atlético Tucumán. There is no other team for me in Argentina. There just can't. After that reception, after seeing that stadium, the fans were so great. I'm still high on that experience. I'm still blown away. I've never seen an atmosphere like it. Vamos Decano. That is definitely my team in Argentina, and that is for sure. Okay, let's see here. Then we have Gaston Edgar Rocha, who asks, also from Instagram, who asks, if I was to live in Argentina, what province would I live in? So far, I'm not sure exactly what. I guess that would be Salta. Then I really like Cafayate. Also Mendoza was quite nice, but Cafayate was probably nicer. I like that small town vibe, and it's right next to the mountains. You can go hiking in the mountains straight away. You can ride horses. The nature there is fantastic. There's really good wine. I'm a lover of wine, so for sure I would love to live in somewhere like Cafayate, or otherwise it would be down in the northern parts of Patagonia, maybe something called El Bolson, which I remember really enjoying when I was down in Patagonia. I really remember enjoying that at that town. San Martin de los Andes was really cool as well. So like, definitely from that you can take away at least somewhere close to the Andes Mountains would be where I was going to live if I was going to live in any province in Argentina. Maybe Mendoza, I say, if I wanted a bit more of a city, I would probably choose Mendoza. So yeah, there you have it. And then let's go and find the next spot and answer some more questions over there. Check it out. Row your boat. Then let's try and answer a couple of questions here whilst we're rowing, to see how that's gonna go. We have Vico PM, who asks, what is the main difference I see between Danish people and Latinos? And yeah, what I've said here is the main difference that I see is the straightforwardness of Danish people versus trying to be nice and not offending anyone in Latinos. It's like a way I could say that, an example of that would be, if you don't want to do something as a Danish person, you'll pretty much just say, yeah, no, that's not for me, thank you. If your friends ask you if you want to go out and you don't really feel like it, you'll just say, yeah, no, I'm not feeling like it today. Where here in Latin America, most people try and come up with some type of excuse instead of saying no. So they say, yeah, all sorts of things, like something, family issues, or instead of saying no, they'll see, I have this to do, I have that to do, I'll make sure that I'll try and get there, and all sorts of things. Excuses, instead of just saying, you know what, I'm not going to be able to make it. They'd rather say, I'm going to try and make it, even though they fully well know that they are not going to make it. Then another difference that I have always noticed between Danish people and Latinos are the independence. Let's get through this. Nearly getting stuck in the trees here. It's the independence of Danish people. Like, we leave the house, we leave the family house at 18, 19, latest 20 years old. Where here it's custom to live at home till you're old, till you're 25, 26, 28, 30, 35, which to me is extremely old. Oh, the wind is carrying me over. This is more challenging than it looks like, to vlog and row a canoe at the same time. But let's soldier on. So yeah, that independence of like, we instantly, also from the parents' side, there's like, yeah, when you get to 18, 19, 20, so like, when are you gonna move out kind of thing, son or daughter. That's a big difference between Danish and Latinos, Scandinavians in general, I would say. Then let's see here. John asks from Facebook, are you going to visit Ecuador? And to that, John, I can say, I don't know. I would really love to visit Ecuador for sure. Look at this, one hand paddling and one hand vlogging at the same time. Amazing. No, back to the questions. Ecuador. I would certainly love visiting Ecuador. I've always heard great stuff about Ecuador. Then I can complete the Andean circle if I would then go through to Colombia from there, then Bolivia, Peru, and then I've done Ecuador and Colombia. That would be cool. So yeah, I would really love to visit Ecuador at some point. That is for certain. It seems like a cool country, volcanoes, cool culture. I've never really met any. I've met a few Ecuadorians, not really. I don't really know many Ecuadorians, but like from other travelers that I know that have been there, they always have good stuff to say. So yeah, I would love to visit. What's the next question? Then we have Kevin, also on Facebook, who asks, favorite, most attractive place. I guess he means country by that. I'm getting crashing into another boat here. I guess he means country by that. And then most best food, also country. And then best hospitality, also a country. So I mean, he's put in brackets country in the two other ones, so I guess he means most attractive place as country as well. And then my answer, or my question, my answer would be New Zealand. That country is just stunning. It has literally everything. It has tropical beaches, palm trees in the north, big surf waves, big beaches with big waves. It has high, cold mountains with snow-capped mountains. It has natural hot springs, great rivers. It has kind of rainforest-like forests, so really beautiful forest areas as well. It's just a stunning country, New Zealand. Absolutely nothing you can put on that in terms of nature. Such a beautiful country. Best food to me, country with the best food, that's gotta be France, for sure. There's no country like France when it comes to helicopter. There's a helicopter looking for me. Let's move. No, for me in terms of food, there's nothing better than France. France is the most diverse, the most creative. Really good food in France. 100% France for me. Then we had best hospitality. And I say, that's gotta be these guys. El Salvador was extreme how hospitable they were there. I guess it's because they just recently came out of a civil war, and the country has a terrible reputation for that reason, and therefore everyone in El Salvador, literally everyone that I met on my trip in El Salvador, their first part of their first like 3 questions would be, how are you liking El Salvador? How are the people treating you? Yeah, do you like it? Are people treating you well here? So on and so forth. Really so hospitable. Do you need anything? What can I help you with? All these types of questions. So yeah, very hospitable in El Salvador, for sure. So yeah, right now I think that is the country I would go with best hospitality. Then Monica from Facebook asked when I was in Tucumán, did I try achilatas, the ice cream? It's riquísima, she says. And I have to disappoint you there, Monica. I did not try achilatas. I did see them on the signs of the street vendors, but I assumed that it was a national thing, so I had no rush to try it. But yeah, now I'm gonna have to come back to Tucumán, I guess, just to try achilatas and watch another game of my favorite team, my new favorite team, Atlético Tucumán. Vamos Decano. Then Maria asks, also from Facebook, if I'm going to come to Paraguay. And yes, Maria, I am going to come to Paraguay. After Argentina, the plan is to go to Paraguay. So yeah, once I'm done here in Buenos Aires, in a week or two, then the plan is to head up north from Buenos Aires up to Rosario and Entre Rios and Corrientes and Posadas and these kind of places, and then eventually cross into Paraguay from there. So that is definitely on the plan, or that is definitely part of the plan. After Paraguay, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll go to Ecuador and visit John up there to see what it's like. All right, let's see. Next question. Okay. Paula from Facebook says, hello, I'm from Jujuy in Argentina. I've seen your videos and they are very, very funny. You left Denmark as a very young guy, didn't you? And yeah, I did leave Denmark very, very early. I left when I was 19. And then her questions are, what does your family think about you traveling and living living far away from them for so long? And yeah, I guess my mom, obviously, she's missing me, but yeah, she's happy for me that I'm living this, that I'm living my dream life, and also that she can come and visit, because my mom does come and visit all the time. She visited me in Peru, she's visited me in Bolivia, she's visited me in Mexico as well earlier this year. Let's just get away from this interrogating tree here that's blocking the camera lens, and then we'll get back to the question there. So yeah, my family, they obviously miss me, but my parents are happy for me that I'm living out the dream life that I told them already when I was when I was in high school, that I was going to leave and travel after high school. But yeah, they obviously miss me, and I obviously miss them as well. But it's part of living this life, that you miss things. You miss some birthdays and that sort of thing. That's just, it comes with it. But we travel to see my family, or they come and see me pretty much once a year. So it's not like that long that we haven't seen each other in that way. And we usually we are together for 2 weeks or so when we are together. It's like, at least in Denmark, if I was living in Denmark, accumulated over a year, we wouldn't probably not even see each other 14 times in 1 year. So accumulatively, it's pretty similar to if I was living in Denmark anyways. And then she's also asking, one of the most asked questions, how do I sustain myself? Do I work? And to that I can only say, as I was saying earlier, I've always been a businessman, and you are watching how I sustain myself. YouTube is a job for me. YouTube pays me money for making these videos, right? I get a revenue share of those commercials that are running on YouTube. So yeah, that's how I sustain myself. I make money with a YouTube channel. I have also a Facebook page so between Facebook and YouTube, we're almost 200,000 in our little PilgArt Explores community, and you can make money with that for sure. And then I've always been a businessman, as I was saying before in one of the other questions. I've always enjoyed business. I've always wanted to do something on my own, something for myself. I used to have a restaurant up in Bolivia. I've always had in Bolivia I owned a restaurant, yeah, and I've always had investments on my side. Oh, coming through a tree here. I've always had investments on the side since a young kid. I learned the importance of making money work for you so that you don't have to work for money. That is one of the most important lessons you can learn in life, if you're asking me. Learn to make money work for you so you don't have to work for money, because that sets you free. That gives you financial freedom, that gives you personal freedom to simply have the choice to say, no, I'm not interested in whatever sort of thing that I get suggested, that you don't have to take a job that you don't want to, you don't have to work a job that you don't like just because you need that money to pay the bills at the end of the month. So yeah, if I can leave you with one thing from this whole Q&A video, learn how to make money work for you. Do not work for money. Just don't. Just learn how to make money work for you. Invest your money. Build your own businesses, and don't just build one, because you will fail in the process. You will fail. Like, I can tell you many stories of failed businesses that I've tried to start, but you learn, you take something from that failed business and you build it onto the next business, and you learn and you go step by step, and eventually you see the fruits of your labor at the end of the day. So yeah, learn how to make money work for you. Do not work for money. That is my main advice to you, everyone watching this video. Now, let's find another place and let's keep going. Check out that palm tree over there, isn't it beautiful? All right. Make money work for you. Rule number 1 in life. Do not work for money. That's rule number 2. All right, then we have Isis from Facebook, who asks, what does your tattoo say? It says, you are not to think that you are anything special. You are not to think that you're smarter than us. You are not to think that you're good at anything. You are not to think that anybody likes you. Because don't you think that I know anything about you? That is the answer that justifies the statements there. Or the question that justifies the statement. This is basically an old Viking law called the Jante law, or the law of Jante. It's like an unwritten rule in Viking culture. It kind of describes how we think in Scandinavia. It describes where that humbleness comes from. It describes that humbleness. You will not really find any Scandinavian person you won't find many of them who will stick out and like claim that he or she is the best at anything that they do. Even though they might be, they won't claim that, and that's basically what this tattoo describes. Then we have Karina from Facebook, who says, do you like Argentina, and specifically Buenos Aires? Yes, I do. Argentina is really cool, and specifically Buenos Aires I don't know that well so far. I've been there once before, but like the cities in Argentina in general, as I said in the Cordoba video, was they look very Italian, they look very European. It's a cool vibe in Argentina. And yeah, Buenos Aires is very cool, and I like this tigre that I didn't know was even in Buenos Aires. Then we have Elizabeth, who also says felicidades, like congratulations. She's asking, and I say thank you, obviously. She's asking if I miss Bolivia. And yeah, sometimes I do miss Bolivia. Bolivia has obviously played a special part in my life. I've always enjoyed my time in Bolivia, and through having lived there, I obviously now have friendships there that I do miss Bolivia from time to time, for sure. The culture in Bolivia is so cool. Right now I miss the diversity of food that you can find in Bolivia, because here in Argentina it's just meat and meat all the time. And yeah, I like meat, but I would like something else every now and then. So yeah, I'm missing Bolivia for sure at times. That's just natural when you've been living in a country for so long, I think. Then we have Chapi from Facebook who asks, Messi or Maradona? Messi. Nancy from Facebook asks, when will you be in Guatemala? When will you come to Guatemala? Again, I would really, just like Ecuador, I would really like to do Guatemala at some point. I would like to do just a full trip through Central America from Guatemala and then down through to Panama. Maybe leave Mexico out, do Mexico on its own because it's so big. But like, I would really love to do it. As I said, I've been to, as you can see with the shirt, I've been to El Salvador, and El Salvador was really, really cool. So if Guatemala is anything like that, then I know I'm gonna love it. So yeah, I would very much like to go to Guatemala. That volcano that they have that's active, that's just spewing out fire, lava all the time, that looks really, really cool. Gleiner from Facebook asks, favorite food in Bolivia? I mean, look at my Instagram, look at my videos. Lechon, obviously, there's nothing like lechon. I am the lover of lechon. It's crunchy, it's juicy. There's nothing better than when you know how to cook proper pork meat. Then you can't go wrong with that. Sari asks, also from Facebook, how did you meet your girlfriend? The answer to that? In Carnival in La Paz in 2018. We met each other at a party. I was wearing a pink wig and she was wearing a green wig, and we were the only two people in the party wearing wigs. So naturally we were drawn towards each other. We started talking, and yeah, we just started talking, and we were talking till the dance floor was empty, and the cleaning staff at the club was saying, hey, you need to go somewhere else now. We just completely lost ourselves in this conversation, so that was fantastic. And since then, the day after, we then went, I need to move here, there's a kayak guy coming. The day after, we then went on our first proper date. And yeah, then we slowly got to know each other as I decided that Bolivia was the place that I was going to live, and eventually we decided we are going to be boyfriend and girlfriend. And the rest is history, as they say. And then, next question is from Pablo, also from Facebook. He is asking, what do you like the most and least about Latin America in general? We can sit under this tree for a while, just get that noisy motorboat past me here. Oh my god, look at it. Alright, back to the question. What do I like the most and least about Latin America? And I think the answer there is most. What I've written down here is there's always something happening in Latin America. Any street corner, there's always someone who's ready to talk, ready to chat, and if there's nothing happening, everyone is always ready to make something happen. So that spontaneity of Latin America is something that I really, really enjoy. I really love it. The warmth of people, the helpfulness of people. There's just the kindness of people is so good. So that's what I really love. What I least like is the punctuality. You know, I quickly learned that when you say, hey, let's meet at X place at 6 o'clock this afternoon, it's often 6:30, if not 6:45, that people start turning up. So yeah, that is what I probably least enjoy about Latin America. Let's just back my canoe up here. I'm getting floating into the middle of this river, and on this one there's more people. Alright, back to the question. why doesn't your girlfriend, Miguel from Facebook asks, why doesn't your girlfriend appear more in your videos? And that's simply because she doesn't feel comfortable. She doesn't really want to be on the videos. She doesn't feel... Whoops, we had to do a camera switch there. But back to Miguel's question, why doesn't my girlfriend appear more in the videos? And yeah, as I was just starting to say, she doesn't really feel comfortable. She doesn't want to be on camera. She doesn't feel comfortable in front of the camera. So yeah, that's simply why. And also, I want to keep private life and public life separate, and we like to keep it like that. So, getting shaken by a motorboat here. I like to keep public and private life separate. So that's another reason for it. Also that, other than she doesn't like to really be on the camera that much. So you have to respect that as well, because yeah, I think it's great to keep our public and private life separate as well. That's a good idea. Then Jorge asks, would you recommend living in your country? Would I recommend living in Denmark? I say yeah, of course. You can easily live in Denmark. It depends on what you're looking for sure. Because like if you're Latin American and you want to move to Denmark, that's going to be quite the change, quite a culture shock that you're going to reach there. Like things like there's no, what did I write here? There's no cash. Cash is not a thing in Denmark. It's all paying with cards in Denmark. It's all electronic. There's terrible weather most year around. Like here we used to sun every day, almost every day in Latin America, and hot weather even if it's not sunny, where in Denmark it's hola in Denmark it's terrible weather most of the year around, raining and that sort of stuff. And then also like punctuality is something you have to get used to if you're living in Denmark. Like if you got to meet someone at 8 and you only arrive at 8, it's like even though you're on time, you're actually kind of late. It's almost custom to arrive 5-10 minutes before the time that you say that you're going to meet up in Denmark. So yeah, I would recommend it, but it depends on what you're looking for. Why do you want to live there? Studying, for instance, is great in Denmark if you want to go to the university or something. Matthias from Facebook asks, what do you think about Latin behavior and sentiment around family and friends? And there I say, I don't like, there's two sides to it. I don't like that extreme respect for age. To me that seems ridiculous, that just because someone is older than you, you can't tell them your opinion, you can't tell them why you think they are wrong, because you just have to say yes, because that person is older. In my opinion, it's the best argument wins a discussion. It's not. Hello. It is very good here.
Where are you from?
Denmark.
Denmark.
Yeah, as I was saying, where was I? In my opinion, the best argument wins a discussion, not an age. It doesn't matter whether you're 65 or whether you're 50 or whether you're 15. If your argument is the best, you are correct. The other hand of that argument is, or the other hand of the family and friends thing. Friends, I think, is pretty much the same as anywhere in the world, but family, like, you're obviously very close to your family here, very tied to your family, and there's some beauty in that. I like my independence that we do in the Danish culture, but there's obviously some beauty to that, coming over to the family house once or twice a week, that many Latin Americans do, I know. So yeah, that's the upside to that culture for sure. So I think there's, like many things in the world, there's both pluses and minuses to the things. It's not just black and white. I'm not a big fan. Hola. People are liking to say hello today. Look at this. Coming through. Oh my god. I gotta hold on here. They are racing. Oh my god, the motorboats. Damn, nearly got thrown in the water there. What was the question? Yeah, I got my point through there, I think, about what I think about family and friends. I think friends is pretty much the same as anywhere. You do anything you can for your friends. You help them, you support each other, just like anywhere in the world. And then, I think we're at the last question here. Joaco from Facebook asks, what was my motivation for coming to South America? And yeah, other than what I was saying earlier, learning Spanish, it was simply very much the fact that I wanted to learn Spanish, and yeah, I wanted to experience the culture of Latin America. I wanted to see the beautiful people of Latin America. I wanted to... Hola! Abilino there! From the first video that we came here. The taxi man. But yeah, I wanted to learn Spanish, and I wanted to experience the culture, experience the beautiful people. And yeah, I certainly have not regretted that decision one day in my life. I can see myself living somewhere around Latin America for a long time, out in the future of future Sebastian. And then Joaco's last question is, am I planning on watching the World Cup here in Argentina? And yes, I am. I'm not gonna watch the whole World Cup, but I'm definitely gonna catch some of the first games here in Argentina whilst I'm still here, and I cannot wait to watch Argentina play. Not at home, but watch Argentina in Argentina. Watch Argentina play in a bar here in Argentina. That is gonna be absolutely fantastic. Just from that experience in Atlético Tucumán, from that stadium, I can only imagine the atmosphere that there's going to be when Argentina is playing, when everybody is supporting the same team. Man, it's gonna be amazing. Most likely as well, Denmark are going to play Argentina in the round of 18, in the octavos, as you call it here in Spanish, because the Danish group and the Argentinian group cross each other after the group stage. We're in with France, so we probably finish second, and Argentina will probably win their group, and then we're going to be off for a face-off. I can't support Argentina for that one. Obviously, I hope that Denmark wins the whole thing. Although I know that's quite unrealistic hopes to have, but I still hope for it. So what if Denmark don't win, you ask? Then of course, my country that I want to win is Argentina. Wouldn't it be lovely for Messi to just finally close the mouth of all his critics? To be able to finally win, take a World Cup home to Argentina, just like Diego did. I would really love that. Also, it's been European winners of the World Cup since I can remember. I do remember Brazil winning the first World Cup that I can remember in 2002, when original Ronaldo scored 2 goals against Germany and they won 2-1 in the final. But since then, it's always been European winners of the World Cup in my life. And I would like to see that change, because it shouldn't be just an extended European Championships. The World Cup should have winners from different continents. And that's generally South America. That's the other continent that can win that. Hopefully someday we'll see an African winner as well. But yeah, for that reason, I would also really like Argentina to win, so we can get a non-European winner, if it's not going to be Denmark, of course. Danish Dynamite. And yeah, that was the last question. So I hope you enjoyed that Q&A video. Once again, I'll say thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching the videos, thanks for sharing the videos, and thanks for supporting me on this journey. As I said in the intro, I did not expect to reach 25,000 subscribers this fast. That's crazy to me. We're a quarter of 100,000. So that's the next goal. Get to 50 and then get to 100,000. So yeah, please subscribe, please keep sharing the videos, please keep leaving your opinions in the comments. Tell me anything that I can do better for the videos for the future. Recommend places like you do. I see all your comments, I see all your messages. Just know that I try and respond to as many as possible. But it is difficult to get to every single message because I have so many messages. But I try my best, I see all of them. Even if I don't respond, I will have seen your message. And it means a lot to me that you take your time out of your day to write me a message. So thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed this 25k little special Q&A video. Maybe we'll do that once again at some point in the future again if you like this video. So yeah, give it a like, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you when I see you.